What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 44 of my Total Warhammer 3 Kairos Fateweaver Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, the sentinels have arrived and Kairos, sitting in the Black Pyramid, has to destroy 8 full stacks, and pretty elite stacks at that. Lots of bone giants, war sphinxes, necrosphinxes, tomb scorpions, elite stuff that's going to be relatively difficult for his own army to kill. That said, we have now retrofitted his army as well, so he does have access to his Lords of Change and his other new stuff, though he's still missing the 2 soul grinders that we want to make him have a full ranged army eventually. Though I suppose we could just get more Lords of Change if we really wanted to, and be kind of obnoxious about it. Vindex is also nearby with a possible reinforcing Pink Horror, etc. army, though of course this would just be, you know, icing on the cake. It's not going to provide too much value against certain types of armies, certainly not too against one sort of deal, but you know, when it's 3 versus 2, that'll be a little bit better. So we'll deal with that in a second. In addition to that, we've also moved all the way up north to Akendorf and the Forest of Gloom, and we have taken most of this continent for ourselves. We still have the Bloody Hands to destroy, but they're pretty much done, and when they are, we either have to border up here and head for the dwarfs, or start heading out this way. Not entirely sure yet. We shall see. Finally, the invasion of Lustria. There is a lot of stuff to do here. We do have our second army that has arrived in the form of Kronos, though of course he's going to get replaced by another lord because, well, this army is not ideal for him personally because of the type of skills that he has. But more importantly, we have a siege going on here, which we will have to fight shortly. And look at all these armies here. Tehenwan with a full stack, another little half stack moving around, another half stack and a full stack belonging to Itza, 2 more stacks coming down from Tehenwan, and I'm willing to bet there's probably more as well. At least Gorok himself is busy up north, probably with either Wolfheart or with Rakarth. Looks like it's Wolfheart, so they can keep on fighting. And just out of curiosity, you're at war with Wolfheart. Is Tehenwan at war with Wolfheart? Yeah, he is at war with Wolfheart as well. If we can save up enough grimoires, maybe we can force a war between Itza and Tehenwan. That would be ideal if these two just fell upon each other. Much easier would be if we could get a war between the Bordello Errant and Itza, but kind of iffy. Especially since the Bordello Errant is relatively weak with only 5 settlements and apparently no army. They're somehow having too much tough time fighting Rakarth, even though Rakarth is only bordering them here. Kind of odd considering Rakarth is at war with Itza and with Tehenwan, with the Cult of Sotek, but he hasn't taken anything here. Like, at least take the Sentinels here. Seems like an exposed territory, and you're at 3 out of 4 in this territory. You disappoint me, Rakarth. Well, either way, let's get started. We've got some Sentinels to kill, so that's going to be where we begin. I think for this one we can send Kairos' army by himself, but we'll send this one to reinforce against these 3 instead. So, and the reason I'm thinking we do that is, oh wait, we could also do a teleport stance and ambush one of these armies, but would that really give us anything? I'm feeling like in this particular case it wouldn't actually be all that helpful. Yeah, we'll attack this with Kairos by itself, and the reason for that is I think if we attack with Vindex here, Vindex will show up on the other side of these guys, and we don't actually want him to come in and get instantly killed. So, and the question then is which army do we attack first, and I'm going to say it's gonna have to be the one without the Bone Giants, as the Bone Giants could actually hurt Kairos. Alright, let's do that. You, begin. And close defeat, eh? Alright, now, let's see about that. We've got a Banner of Eternal Flame. We could put that on, for example, one of the Lords of Change to give them fire attacks. And we have the Leadership Reduction Hex. I feel like this should probably go on Kairos, because he's going to be flying overhead and might be able to melt some more enemies with that. And then, yeah, let's put the Banner of Eternal Flame on one of these guys. Actually makes me think that we maybe want a 5th Lord of Change just to carry the banner, but it's all good. Alrighty, here we go. Obviously cinematically. Should be a pretty fun time. The HP pools are a little bit high, so Kairos is going to have probably a little bit of trouble breaking through them. Well, let's see what we can do.
This has already happened. It is seen.
Alrighty, here we go. First battle against the newly awakened, I should say, sentinels. Now, these two armies are probably going to actually be the toughest of the armies that we're going to face. The first army alone has 8 large entities and large single unit entities, I mean, and the second one does as well. So bone giants, hierophants, war sphinxes, necrosphinxes, etc., etc. 16 on the map, almost as big as our army. And interestingly enough, or unfortunately, our army isn't super adept at dealing with massive piles of those. Although that said, Kairos is going to try to at least reduce the enemy numbers. And of course, he's going to start by going after the enemy lord here, who is taking about 1,000, I believe, damage from each proper volley. 800 damage from each proper volley of those blue fires. So about 10 to 12 of those should kill him, of course, assuming that not too many of those shots miss. Alright, that one actually did 1,000, well done. So Kairos, you do that. In the meantime, our 4 new Lords of Change are on the field. Oh damn, I gotta remember to rename one of those per the comments there. We've put them on the field. 2 are going to stay here and are going to start casting immediately when the enemy army moves on the field, while these 2 are going to try to react depending on whether the main army here moves. It does look like the AI is going to wait for us to... or not us, is going to wait for its reinforcing army to join up and then move together, which is certainly going to work out for us. Now, here we go. 3 Firestorms of Tzeentch gonna come down right in the middle of the enemy host, 2 of course being free from our Lords of Change, and 1 being from our iridescent core here. While it's not going to hurt any of the large entities pretty much at all, it should wreak quite a bit of havoc on all of those on all those Tomb Garden stuff. We've also popped our free uses of the Infernal Gateways, and while they are not going to do a crazy amount of damage, they can still damage things like the Necropolis Knights, and as we can see, they can suck them in and do about half. So not too bad. Just gotta whittle down those numbers as much as we can with the free spells, especially since we might as well use them here. And the Firestorms of Tzeentch in particular are quite dangerous to use near our own army, so it's better to use them over on this side of the map. Well, now that that's done, it's back to trying to kill the enemy lord, or lords ideally. If we can knock them off before the enemy gets to our battle lines, that would be swell, although it does look like the enemy is now joining together into one blob, and damn, that's a lot of misses. How do you miss a target that big that's barely moving? Ah, magic missiles. Just stop it. Okay, so like half of those missed. It's all good though, and ooh, this is the first time we are seeing, I believe, the Casket of Souls. I don't think the enemy has brought any of these out to play before, and damn, I'm really jealous of these. I want to get some in my Vlad campaign. It's such a great unit too, but I believe it's not possible, right? These are recruited via a special thing, so you can't recruit them directly, so it's not actually possible, which is a shame. But oh well. Also, I believe there should be some bone giants on the field here, unless I'm mistaken. There they are. Though personally, I prefer the Hydro Titans in terms of at least looks. I think the Hydro Titans just look so awesome, and the way that they attack, especially with the laser eyes. But just look at these frickin' things. Glorious. Definitely one of the top models in the game, in my opinion. Necrofex Colossus, Hellpit Abomination, and a Hydro Titan. Definitely in my top few favorites. Absolutely amazing models. Anyway, how are we doing over here? The enemy lord's about 1 or maybe 2 shots away from death. And at least this one will be... okay, so depending on if every single damn shot misses. Alright, let's hope the second volley doesn't... no, it's also all going to miss. Kairos, stop it, man. Just stop screwing with us. And yeah, look, 2 shots and he took 50 damage from those, whereas a single full volley hits for 1,000. He took 50. So I take it that means 1 of the 18 or 14 or whatever missiles fired actually managed to land. This time, maybe? And no, but it's close, I think. At least a few of those landed. Maybe this one? There we go. Finally, that lord goes down, crushes a few of his underlings as well, while the rest of the army moves forward. Here we go. The enemies are closing the distance. We're going to get another use of the free Infernal Gateway upon those slow-moving Tomb Guard, and that unit is just about destroyed. So very much reducing the numbers of the regular infantry. As we can see, though, the balance of power is still in the enemy's favor, and they still have those 17 now. Wait, no, 15, right? I think they had 6, yeah, they had 8 and 8, so they started with 16 single unit models or single entity units, and now they have 15 because the Lord of one army has died. We still have to deal with the rest. First of all, however, here come the Necropolis Knights, going to move into our Exalted and Unexalted Flamers, who are going to hopefully burninate them before they can reach the battle lines. A little bit of help from the Exalted Pink Horrors as well, there we go. Looks like they do make it through, but we will immediately summon a unit of Pink Horrors via our cultists, so we should be able to use them to simply get in the enemy's way, plus the cultists can move in as well. Looks like the other unit has exploded now, and they're both done. Beautiful. Oh, but dangerous. If they had charged with like 6 of those, we would have actually had to back off our ranged units and move our melee forward. Really need to get those soul grinders up and running at some point. And just so that we could have large single entity units of our own to do this sort of thing with and send them out to block the enemy. Alright, looks like the enemy's gonna move in some Nehekara horsemen, which are going to get absolutely wrecked by the regular flamers. And the same thing's gonna happen to this one most likely, though it is going to force us to clip a few of our summoned units, but who cares about the summoned units? They're going to disappear shortly anyway. Ooh, Hyro Titan is closing the distance. The rest of the enemy army is very slowly marching in, and Kairos is now going after the second enemy lord, who's nearing half HP. Also going to try to avoid landing our Lords of Change for as long as possible. We can certainly use them like soul grinders to block the enemy here, but we do want to be careful as they're quite a lot more fragile, especially than things like Hyro Titans and stuff like that. Plus our own units hitting them might be pretty dangerous. Alright, let's see. Now, Hyro Titans... Yeah, the Hyro Titans have a massive HP pool, like 12k, so it's going to take a while before we can bring them down. We also summoned another Lord of Change, and this one we can drop down from the skies to block the enemy here. First, the Nehekara Horseman, and then second, the enemy Tomb Scorpion here. / Dreadnought. Carrion flying around. Looks like they're jealous of our Lords of Change's wings, and ooh, here comes that Hyro Titan moving in. We're probably going to have to block him with our cultist here. But that should allow our units to hopefully destroy it over a very, very long time. It's gonna take a while to break through this guy's health pool. In the meantime, let's see, the enemy lord is below half HP and is now closing the distance with our Exalted Flamer over here, looking to destroy him. Here come those single entity models, but unfortunately for him, after that charge is over, we Gaze of Fate him, and he has to stay where he is. This is the time to focus him down, so here come more blue fires from both our Lords of Change plus Kairos, and more shots from our Pink Horrors. And it looks like the second enemy lord drops. But here come even more single entity units, 4 of those damn scorpions, 2 more sphinxes, both of the war and of the necro variety, and there's a second Hyro Titan, as well as 2 more scorpions and another war sphinx moving in. And damn, they haven't quite breached our battle lines yet, but they are approaching and getting ready to do so, and now we're going to have to work for this victory. Damn, that's a lot of single entity units. And I guess this is one of those situations where Lightning Strike would have come in handy. But this is probably the only time we'll be facing off against things like this, as in, I really doubt that any other faction is going to bring 2 to 3 armies full of, like, half their army being nothing but single entities. And if it was only one army, they wouldn't have been able to actually reach our lines, but here we go. Now they're fighting, and it's time to distract them as best as possible. Our Chaos Warriors, our Flamers, and our Lords of Change will all have to fight and distract the enemy. for as long as possible while we dish out damage. Also going to have to try to back off our pink horrors. We also have our iridescent horror here fighting one of the enemy scorpions. Back off our flamers, rather, so the flamers can attack the enemy, though this is very dangerous for the exalted flame, or the exalted flamers, the iridescent horrors, as it can't win in a one-on-one versus a tomb scorpion. It's just too fragile, or otherwise doesn't have enough of an HP pool to take hits like this. Plus it's not very heavily armored as well. Though it looks like Valens here got a decent amount of kills here, 270. All things considered pretty damn decent, as he wasn't casting nearly as much as our free uses of our casts from our Lords of Change. Also, speaking of the Lords of Change, while we're here, I gotta point out, since we have 4 of them, we have 8 uses of free Treason of Tzeentch, so that's a considerable reduction in enemy melee attack ability when we start using them, if we haven't already. That said, though, look at all those damn models. Looks like 2 are fighting 1 Lord of Change here. This Necrosphinx is being distracted by pink horrors who moved in to try to protect our flamers. Our iridescent horror had to move out, and there's 2 scorpions working here together. And they've certainly reached our battle lines now. All of our Lords of Change now landing, as we will be needing to distract them. I believe, wait, is one of the Higher Titans nearly dead? Yeah, this one's at 2.7k, though that's still a respectable amount of HP. Yeah, gotta be careful. Love it. Love it. Though the balance of power has now very slightly switched in our favor. And there goes, I believe, a Treason of Tzeentch on the enemy, minus 29. Oh, it's leadership, is it? Let's see, Treason of Tzeentch, leadership minus 29. Yeah, okay, well, at the very least, these guys will start crumbling apart a lot quicker because of that, depending on how long we can keep that up and running. The first of the enemy Higher Titans drops amid a summoned unit of pink horrors. The Lords of Change are still fighting, though it looks like we're starting to bring down those models and lower their numbers. Kairos Gaze of Fating a Kemrian War Sphinx and trying to smack it around, all the while now repeatedly trying to cast Regrowth. We can see that some of our units are certainly taking damage, but we gotta remember that things like the Lords of Change and the Exalted Flamers, we don't actually care about their damage nearly as much as we might for a unit that can lose models. As long as they have their single model, we can always heal them up with our Regrowth. So they can tank all day as long as they don't die. Granted, we won't be able to heal them up with Regrowth in this battle, because most likely they will, the enemy will crumble apart shortly, and are in fact doing so right now. Simultaneous deaths on the Hierotitan Titan and the Kemrian Necrosphinx, or just Necrosphinx. Also, their death animations are just so glorious. Ah, you gotta love the Tomb King aesthetics, though. This is a war of aesthetics, isn't it? Tomb Kings and Tzeentch and the Tzeentchian army, glorious on both sides. Anyway, the last 2 enemy units remaining alive are these 2 bone giants who have been trying to take shots at Kairos for pretty much the entire battle. Honestly, it doesn't seem like they've achieved much of anything. 2.8k damage, and let's see what you have. And 3.9k damage. Well, that's something. 4k damage is not horrible. Probably more the damage than any enemy infantry, missile infantry, or cavalry did, but probably considerably less so than any of the enemy other large entities. Now, as we can see, we've backed the rest of our army off. You're wondering why I did this. It's to not close the distance with the Bone Giant. Kairos is flying around right now, and he's now cast Regrowth at least one time on either himself or the Cultist or one of the Lords of Change, on something. I just wanted to try to get a free cast off, as we essentially have to use it on cooldown now. And there we go, just like that, the enemy crumble apart. It looks like they both started crumbling as soon as they actually ran out of ammunition, which is kind of interesting. Also, I like that massive broken statue in the background. That thing's huge. Like the size of, it's like bigger than a lot of the pyramids that we've encountered, or at least the smaller ones. Neat. Anyway, close victory, and that is 2 out of 8 Sentinel forces destroyed. Alright, not bad, but we certainly did have to work for it. That said, luckily most of the damage was confined to single unit entities, which means regrowth spam will get everybody here back up to full HP. So really the only units that are really hurt are the Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch here at half HP, and a little bit of damage to one unit of Exalted Horrors and to the two Flamers. All of these single entities will be full and fine next battle. So, and we're gonna start by healing up a little bit in the hopes of healing those units that are badly damaged. And I guess time for round 2, though I suppose, let me see here. Alright, these armies still have a fair few amount of units of single target entities. Ooh, 2 caskets and 2 screaming skulls here. I do have to wonder which army would be best to attack first. This army has a pile of Tomb Guard and stuff, so if it were to move in second, a lot of those would be subject to getting ripped apart. But then again, if these guys moved in second, then their artillery would essentially be useless for most of the battle, which would be nice as well. Well, either way, we're probably going to attack these guys next, but I think what we'll do is do those attacks next turn, not next turn, next episode. What we want to probably do here is have Fire attack Mr. Hook and Deos, because that'll break up the different types of battles. So, in that light, what do we have here in terms of garrison? Oh, we actually have a pretty nice one. Nice. Alright, so let's level everybody up here and then let's attack. Do we want another level of Glean Magic here? Also, we have the Arsenal of Insanity. That's Forsaken, Spawn, Lord of Change, and Soul Grinder. I guess we want the thing for the horrors. Yeah, alright, get the horror thing. And then you two. If we're about to fight another big battle, I guess we probably want another level in Glittering Robe. Let's go Evasion, let's go Earthing, so that you don't miscast. I'm not sure that we care that much about either of these spells at the current time, as I think Fire can do more with his own Lore of Tzeentch spells. Still haven't decided what we're going to do with regards to your Locust, but that's just fine for now. No, you actually have Final Transmutation pretty much maxed out. Alrighty, we already have 1 point in Plague of Rust, so we don't really need to spend it elsewhere. Let's max out Final Transmutation and Transmutation of Blood. Just gotta make sure that we remember that it's the Iridescent Horror that has those available. Also, you are on your disc and not on your Burning Chariot, so that's perfectly fine, and I guess here we go. Let's do this battle as well. Alright, close victory this time, casualties low by the looks of it, but that may be the auto-resolve lying, we shall see. Though this time we won't have to contend with the annoyance of having to deal with the... one second, I'm trying to figure out who to put the Ranger's Standard on. Oh, it used to be on one of these guys. Yeah, okay, fine. Put it on the doggos for now, I guess? Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, we don't have to contend with the Jungle Swarm, so we won't be as worried about standing in a blob, and the enemy can't do much about it. We have a... what are you? You're not a caster. Oh, you won't be able to glean magic at all, but then they also won't be able to use magics. So I think we'll be just fine. Let's get to it.
We are the terrors from beyond the bringers of impossibility.
And a swing and a miss, or a fireball and a miss. Here we go. I am excited about this battle just as much as I was about the battle with Kairos and those sentinels. Looks like we're getting lots of glorious battle this episode, and it's probably going to continue into the next episode as well. The thing that excites me about this one is we have an actually pretty massive battle line here. Plenty of different types of troops. The pink horrors in the center here. Units are spread apart, even though we don't don't have to worry about the enemy jungle swarm this time. And yeah, we got our Chaos Warriors all over the place. Would use some Chosen and stuff, but yeah. So essentially we've set up our pink horrors, or our blue horrors rather, in the front of the battle. The enemy can hopefully attack the blue horrors and waste their time killing them, because we don't really care about their lives, as they are garrison forces and they're frankly not all that useful to us right now. Behind them, we have our first melee line, which consists of Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch, as well as their Forsaken in the center, and then directly behind them are piles of Poison Wind Globadiers, our Flamers of Tzeentch, and then our Pink Horrors. We are holding a hill, so the idea is the enemy tries to go up the hill and gets absolutely obliterated for their trouble. In the back, we also have 2 units of Chaos Warriors with Halberds, our units of Chaos Knights, our units of Screamers, and our units of Doggos to react to wherever it is they may be needed. We've also got a very decent amount of Chaos Warriors with Halberds on the flanks here, as it does seem that the enemy has positioned their Cold One Spears and their Feral Basties / Stegs or whatever on the flanks, and I'm expecting that our Chaos Warriors with Halberds are gonna have work for them. Anyway, we are going to open up the battle by having Fire annoy the enemy with blue fires, as he tends to do, or as all of our lords have a tendency to do. Except possibly, I guess, Iber. And then, of course, we use the Gaze of Tzeentch, or Gaze of Fate, every time, on the enemy lord, annoy him a little bit, and then back the heck up. Hopefully this will be sufficient to draw him in to our main force, where an absolutely massive amount of ranged units are waiting for him. He has a Ruby Ring of Ruin that he keeps using, but is ultimately failing every time to hit our lord, and he's drawing closer and closer now to our army. A big mistake, buddy. The blue horrors are going to fire at you. Looks like you're going to dodge plenty of shots there, but how many can you really dodge? Here come the shots from the Poison Wind Globadiers and the pink horrors, and everybody's now focusing you down. Plus blue fires of Tzeentch from fire. We move away, and the enemy lord is in very bad shape. Beautiful. Even get some flamers firing at him as well. And here comes the rest of the enemy forces. As we expected, their charge blunted and completely useless when hitting our blue horrors. Useless because we don't care about the damage there. And then they have to back off after nearly getting destroyed on their units of Horned Ones. What a waste for such a strong unit. But of course they're getting hit by Poison Wind Globadiers and by Pink Horrors as they move in. That said, the battle lines are about to clash as the Saurus are getting closer and closer. The cavalry is wasting its time charging our blue horrors, but there are Stegs or Basties or whatever that are probably going to move in shortly. We also do have to be somewhat concerned about the enemy reinforcements here, but we have positioned our Iridescent Horror Aquila here to drop the occasional Searing Doom on them as they move in addition to hopefully a Firestorm of Tzeentch, like an army-bound Firestorm of Tzeentch. Alright, well, let's see if the enemy can breach our battle lines, but I wouldn't hold my breath. We just have so many range units, and once again, our garrison units are all out front, so the enemy has to actually break through them in order to deal with Fire's army. Fire probably just so glad not to have to be dealing with our with the enemy jungle swarms. And there's that Firestorm of Tzeentch coming down in addition to that Searing Doom. Just going to try to do a decent amount of damage to the enemy, as well as a final transmutation. It's probably not going to be anything crazy, but you know, why not soften up the enemy targets? Actually, not so bad on this one unit of Skink Cohorts, which is, I guess, right in the center of the enemy. Some lovely effects from all of this, though. This was not the right place to move into the battlefield, my dear lizard friends. Also, all your friends are dying. And a Gaze of Fate comes down on the enemy Basti, while an Infernal Gateway Overcast, I believe, from Fire comes down on the enemy source, preventing them from moving forward, sucking them in, and also allowing us to continue dishing out damage. The Poison Wind Globadiers and Pink Horrors start doing damage to the Basti as well, and while it is an extremely tanky little guy, it's going to go down fairly quickly under our tensions. Looks like the enemy lord tries to move in, but gets sniped out of the air by Fire and his blue fires. Yeah, imagine just moving up this hill. You can't even see what's going on. It's just all fire and poison and everything. Pretty horrifying, I might imagine. There we go. They certainly need that jungle swarm. Honestly, considering their performance, the enemy army's performance without the jungle swarm, it just makes me think about how OP that spell seems. And once again, how jealous I am of the fact that we can't use something like that. Why does Tzeentch get out magicked? Granted, it's only one spell, but nonetheless. Alright, let's take a look at this damage here. Enemy Horned Ones moved in, and this is the second unit of full HP Horned Ones, but we sent in our Chaos Knights, our Warriors with Halberds, as well as our anti-large Screamers to counteract them. The enemy can keep charging in, but this looks to be pretty bad for them, especially as they get surrounded by the Screamers, hitting them in the back, and they die in the jungles in which they were born. Lovely. And I do believe the main battle line is just, or the main portion of the battle, rather, is just about ours. We've in fact contracted our army a little bit, moving it further down the hill to allow continuous damage from our flamers and possibly our pink horrors, if they can still reach. But it looks like most of the enemy army is now routing. We're also at this point sending around our dire doggos, flesh hounds, to try to chase down enemy units, though of course we will try to focus down more elite things like Cold One Riders, Horned Ones, Basties and Stegs, if we can catch them. Fire, in fact, is going to try to chase one down. Not sure how much damage he can do, but he can give it a try. While all this is happening, of course, the enemy's second army is still moving in. It is damaged, lost about maybe half of its HP from moving on to the field under Aquila's attentions, but there's still plenty of enemies to kill. Let's see, Aquila did only 21k damage, actually not that much considering the spells he used, but to be fair, some of that damage probably came from the Firestorm of Tzeentch as well. Anyway, I'm going to speed this up a little bit while the second army joins in. We're going to actually move Fire and the rest of our units away, and it looks like the enemy is most likely going to try to regroup, as a few of the units that were routing are now going to join and try to move back up the hill. Well, good luck to them. Once again, they're going to send out their cavalry. And once again, I don't imagine it's going to end too well. They're going to give chase to our Chaos Knights, but we're going to stop them with a Gaze of Tzeentch and hit them sideways with a volley from our Flamers, and then send our Knights and our Chaos Warriors with Halberds in, together with Fire. We shall kill them to a lizard, I'm sure. In the meantime, the enemy's slower moving units are going to try to move back up that hill, and we can see those poor skinks being absolutely fried by flamers before they even get in range of the pink fires. And it looks like the enemy doesn't want to fight after all. The entire army regrouped and then promptly shattered as their skirmishers and their cavalry were destroyed. Very nice. Very nice. And even as they run, we're going to get another Firestorm and Tzeentch coming down on them, and just to try to reduce their numbers a little bit further. A lot easier to use this particular spell when the enemy is actually running away and can't move out of its area of effect. Nice. Very, very nice. That is a fair few Soras dead that we hopefully won't have to chase down. Anyway, let's speed this up. Our Flesh Hounds have a lot of work to do on enemies running. In fact, we probably don't have enough Flesh Hounds or Knights here to kill everybody. Fire managed to kill the enemy Lord, run him down, fly him down, whatever you want to call it. While the Knights are starting to work on those Soras, but they don't kill quite fast enough. I think that the Flesh Hounds are actually quite a bit better at chasing and killing things than the Chaos Knights are. Well, partly because the Flesh Hounds are also faster, but the Chaos Knights are much bigger and do get in each other's way a lot as well. And they also seem to have a tendency to knock down Soras, as we can see, which allows them to come back up and be invincible for a time and take a little bit longer. But anyway, that's fine. I'm thinking that we should have destroyed sufficient amounts of this army and not to be too concerned with being able to maybe auto-resolve them right after, or otherwise to have a quick little battle where we just don't allow them to reach our lines. Anyway, there we go. Another glorious battle, and probably plenty more to come. Well, there we go. Without Jungle Swarm to kill half our army, the enemy doesn't really have a prayer with these types of armies, at least. And they had some decent units in there too. We are going to heal up, and ooh, that'll max out the healing on our Flesh Hounds. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Really, that only took us sacrificing some of the garrison blue horrors, which we don't really care about. And that's 2 more armies out of the way, or at least they will be shortly. Let's see, diplomatic relations with Tzeentch factions, yeah, again, kind of useless to us. Battle Masters gives leadership +5 for all armies. That might be useful, especially as we've got a decent amount of demon units, and thus they can always use additional leadership. Anyway, with that, unfortunately, we are out of time, but I think it was a pretty nice couple of big battles. I expect the next 2 or 3 episodes to be filled up with massive amounts of battles, as Kairos still has movement points, Vindex does, so we gotta go through these units, go through anything we can reach here, and then I guess the same thing goes for up here. But after those armies are cleaned out, we will once again begin to advance and create or capture settlements. Not entirely sure what we gotta do about Tehenaman yet or anything, because Kronos either has to stay here or move, but I suppose since Fire's defeated these armies, he should be able to hold here by himself. So we shall see. Stay tuned for more Kairos and more battles against these sentinels. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.